Hello everyone and welcome back to English with Love. My name is Nancy and I'm your English coach. You can think of me as your English personal trainer, someone who will encourage you and motivate you on your language learning journey here at English with Love Studio. In this podcast, I prepare short micro lessons to help you improve your English listening skills. So to my new listeners I say, enough excuses. It's time to take action. Learning a language takes time and dedication, and it's best if you start today by setting aside a little time each week, especially for the listening side of language learning. With my mini episodes, you can easily fit English into your busy schedule and listen whenever and wherever you want. And to my lovely students from all over the world who have been following me for some time now, great job. Keep up the good work. Your consistency will reward you. In time, you will surprise yourself because little by little you will start understanding more and then you will start speaking better and better. Trust me, and you can thank me later. But for now, we all need to get our English into shape. So let's start training and let's move on to today's lesson, which is dedicated to a very interesting ancient Roman festival called Lupercalia. And I'll tell you all about it in just a moment. But before we begin, I would like to ask you a small favor, especially if you are new here. Please subscribe to the channel so you will receive a notification every time I publish a new episode. And please share this podcast with someone you know who wants to improve their English. Your support truly helps me continue creating content for you. So now, prepare yourself a nice cup of tea or maybe a warm herbal tea. Make yourself comfortable on the couch or wherever you feel good and enjoy listening and learning. As always, I will speak slowly and clearly to help you. And if needed, listen to the episodes several times. It can only do you good. Are you ready to learn about this very interesting and surprising Roman festival? Okay then, let's begin. Now let's travel very far back in time. We are going back to ancient Rome, to around the 6th century BCE, to discover Lupercalia, an ancient Roman festival. Many historians believe that Lupercalia was the precursor of Valentine's Day as we know it today. Precursor means something that comes before and helps create something later. This festival was not about romantic love. It was about fertility, which means the ability to have children and create new life. It was about purification, which means cleaning something deeply, not only on the outside. And it was about survival. It was also loud, physical, and very different from modern celebrations. And it took place every year from the 13th of February to the 15th of February. To understand Lupercalia, we first need to understand ancient Rome. Rome was not only a powerful empire, it was also a deeply religious society. The Romans believed that the city could only survive if the gods were happy. They believed that nature, health, and human life were controlled by divine forces. Divine means connected to gods. Because of this, the Romans created many rituals. Rituals are fixed religious actions that people repeat in the same way. Lupercalia was one of the oldest festivals in Rome. Even the Romans themselves believed it was very ancient. The name Lupercalia comes from the Latin word lupus, which means wolf. According to Roman myth, which means a traditional story that explains beliefs or origins, Rome was founded by two brothers called Romulus and Remus. When they were babies, they were abandoned near the Tiber River, and they should have died, but instead they were saved by a she-wolf. The wolf fed them with her milk and protected them inside a cave. This cave was called the Lupercalia. The Lupercalia was located at the base of the Palatine Hill, one of the 7 hills of Rome, and it is still in the center of Rome today. This place was considered sacred, which means very important and holy. Lupercalia was celebrated to honor the wolf, the survival of the children, and the founding of Rome. The festival was also connected to a god called Faunus, also known as Lupercus. He was a god of nature, animals, fertility, and wild places. He represented instinct, sexuality, and life energy. So from the very beginning, Lupercalia was about bodies, nature, and life. Lupercalia was celebrated every year from the 13th of February to the 15th of February. February was a very special month for the Romans. In the ancient Roman calendar, it was the last month of the year. It was a time of cleansing, which means removing bad things from the past to start fresh. The word February comes from the Latin word februm, which means to cleanse. So, Lupercalia was not only about fertility, it was also about starting again. The main figures were priests called the Luperci. They were young Roman men, often from important families. Being chosen as a Lupercus was a great honor. Honor means something that gives respect and pride. On the 13th of February, the Luperci gathered at the Lupercalia cave near the Palatine Hill. The atmosphere was serious and intense. The first ritual was animal sacrifice. Sacrifice means killing an animal as a gift to the gods. 2 goats were sacrificed. Goats were symbols of fertility and strength. And a dog was also sacrificed. A dog was a symbol of protection and purification. The blood of the goats was touched to the foreheads of 2 young men, then wiped away with wool soaked in milk. This symbolized death, cleansing, and rebirth. The young men were then required to laugh, showing that life continued. Goat skins were cut into long strips called februa, which were sacred objects. On the 14th of February, the Luperci ran through the streets of Rome. They were naked or almost naked, wearing only goat skins. Naked means having no clothes on the body. Nudity was not shameful. It represented nature and purity. They carried the februa and struck people they passed, especially women. Women were whipped with the goat hides. Whipped means hit with something long and flexible. This was not violent, it was just symbolic and ritual. Women believed it would help them become pregnant, make childbirth easier, and protect their health. Many women voluntarily waited in the streets. Some sources also describe pairing rituals. To pair means to connect 2 people as a couple for a period of time. Names of women were placed in a container, and men would draw a name. Draw means to take something randomly, like picking a name from a hat. These pairs, or newly formed couples, stayed together during the festival. Sometimes their relationship ended after the festival, and sometimes it continued longer. The Romans believed in fate-based pairing, which is the idea that the gods, or destiny and not personal choice, chose the partner. By the 15th of February, the rituals were finished. The city was cleansed, fertility had been encouraged, the old year was symbolically finished, and life slowly returned to normal. Lupercalia continued for hundreds of years until the year 496 AD, when Pope Gelasius I officially ended it. Soon after, the 14th of February became the feast of Saint Valentine. The date stayed, but the meaning changed. So Lupercalia reminds us that traditions are never born suddenly. They evolve, they change, and they take new shapes over time. What began as a ritual of nature and survival slowly moved toward ideas of connection, pairing, and eventually love, quietly preparing the ground for what was still to come. And here we are, guys. We have reached the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode about the Roman festival Lupercalia. Although this festival no longer exists today, it played an important role in shaping how people experienced the mid-February season, a time connected to renewal, human connection, and new beginnings. As a precursor to St. Valentine's Day, Lupercalia helped prepare the cultural space for what would later become the 14th of February, a date now celebrated around the world as a day of romantic love. Over time, these early ideas were transformed, reinterpreted, and given a completely new meaning. If you liked this episode, please subscribe, leave a like, and share it with someone who might enjoy these simple and authentic micro lessons. Your support truly means so much to me. Thank you for being here with me today. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, my dear friends, I send you all my love.